Any questions you have, feel free to put them in the chat, and yeah, I will answer them. Hi Mir, hey Josh, what's going on? Interesting. I did not expect this many people. It's funny. This is my first time doing this. I'm going to be honest. I've never ever done this before on social media. So this is going to be interesting. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm more than happy to answer absolutely anything. It can be a tennis question. It can be a personal question. It can be about the online tennis academy. Whatever you guys want. So feel free to ask me whatever you would like. What's going on, Will? Give me 1 second. What is the best racket? What can I do with the wrist injury? It's been half a year and nothing got better. Loads of questions. Okay, so the best racket depends on how you like to play. It depends on if you're a more offensive player, if you're a more defensive player. For me, I always prefer rackets that give me a lot of power, give me a lot of pace, so I don't have to do much and I can, use my hands to control the ball a bit better. I prefer handle heavy rackets because it allows me to have more control. But overall, the answer to that question is definitely personal preference, I would say. I'm currently looking at trying to get a Yonex sponsorship because I absolutely love Yonex rackets. But the Pure Drive is a very good racket as well. There was a few other questions. Let me have a look. What can I do with a wrist injury? It's been half a year and nothing got better. Super tough, Rani. I'm sorry that happened. Very, very difficult. Many years ago, I was a strength conditioning coach for tennis players, so I can actually help you out a little bit with that. I spent many years doing programs for pro players and programs for academies. So I would suggest that you need to develop a fairly ridiculous amount of forearm strength. Obviously, being safe whilst you're doing it and not pushing through too much pain. I would definitely encourage you to go see a physio if you have not already. But I would be working on getting a lot of strength. And there's lots of different types of forearm strength as well. Like grip strength is kind of what I'm talking about. So you can do simple stuff like holding from a bar or holding onto weights, but there's different stuff. There's like pinch strength, there's rotational strength, like there's so many different movements that you can do. So I would definitely be looking into all the different types of forearm training that you can do and just get your grip strength to a pretty insane level. Strength training is one of the biggest reasons that prevents injury and helps recover from injury. So if you're not strength training, then yeah, you're going to be in lots of trouble, right? So I hope that helps. Mir, I'm a junior from Pakistan and I have trials for Davis Cup team and under 14s in 3 days. So how can I prepare myself in these 3 days? Good question. So lots here, so much to say. I would suggest one of the biggest things is making sure that you feel fresh on the day and not just fresh for the first day, but like you want to be fresh the second day and the third day. So make sure that over the next 3 days that not only are you hitting enough balls, obviously, so that you can feel good when you're playing, but make sure that you have rested enough going into playing. Because the biggest thing that I see players do wrong, especially junior players, is that they don't get enough rest. They then go into it a little bit tired. And then that makes it very difficult for them to perform well mentally. So the first thing is definitely rest. Outside of that, I would be making sure that you are talking to yourself in a good way leading up to the tournament. So having good self-talk leading up to a tournament is just as important as having good self-talk in matches. So make sure that you are, like write some stuff out, like some positive stuff out and the more you think of it, the more you read it, the more it helps you feel good going into the matches. And then, outside of the rest of it, it's just like sleep well, eat well, drink well, prepare all of your equipment so you don't have to think about any of that. So yeah, those would be my recommendations for sort of some quick main recommendations for how you would prepare for a tournament. So good luck, go give your best, no matter what, just, give your absolute best, try your best and problem solve tactically, all right? So good luck. William asked, what would be the best top for getting back into tennis, like for school and stuff? I'm not sure what that means, Will. You have to clarify what you mean by that. So feel free to ask your question again. Philip said the Pure Drive is the best racket. It's definitely very good. I've never been a massive Pure Drive fan, if I'm honest. I've never been a Babolat fan. I've always been more like head rackets. I've had head rackets most of my life. I really want a Yonex racket. I love Yonex rackets. I think they're very, very good. Lots of speed with those rackets. Mia asked, how can I improve my mental game? That's obviously a highly complicated question. There's a lot that we can go into with that. It's pretty much obviously what I base at least 75% of my content on. It's very funny because I would say the biggest thing, Mia, the thing that I have found that has helped players the absolute most, there's so many different things. Like there's 20, 30 different things that you can talk about just in confidence, and those are overall subjects, by the way. Those aren't details of those subjects. But that's not including, that the frustration side of things, and there's so many different things. The biggest thing that I would say to you is essentially the biggest influence over your confidence is how you act. So when you're playing on the court, in practice, matches, even in day-to-day life, make sure that you are acting like the person that you want to actually be. Because, imagine all of you, I want all of you who are watching this to think of a tennis match that you have played in the past, that you lost and you felt horrendous after. Like you felt really, really bad. I want you guys to know that only a small amount of how you felt after that match was because you lost. Most of how you felt was down to the fact that you did not act how you wanted to act. It was probably something like you were getting really upset, you were giving up, you were really, really nervous, pushing the ball, whatever it is. Like you weren't acting how you wanted to act. So, and we know this to be true because now I want all of you watching to think of a tennis match that you have lost, but you felt okay after, or maybe even you felt good after. That is probably because you actually acted how you wanted to act out there in terms of being calm, being focused, being disciplined, giving your best effort by being resilient. And obviously that probably led to you actually playing some decent tennis as well, which would contribute to you feeling okay. So to summarize your question, the answer to your question, Mir, I would be really list out 2, 3 or 4 things, the priorities for you, 2, 3 or 4 different ways you want to act when you're playing a match, and then do it in life, in practice, and on the match court. So hopefully, that answers at least a bit of your question. But it's a lot more complicated than that. But that would be the biggest thing that I could say to you. All right. Hi, Leo. How you doing? Let me know if you guys have any other questions. Rani, you were saying, I've seen a physio and I started going to the gym. Is there any exercise I can focus on? So yeah, good follow-up question, Rani. I would literally Google forearm exercises, okay? I would be, the top ones are literally hang from a bar. Hold onto a bar, lift your feet off the floor, hang from a bar as long as you can. I would be doing farmer's carries. It's just where you hold weights down by your side and you walk. Do stuff like that. There are a ton of forearm exercises, an absolute endless amount. There's arm wrestling stuff where they move like kettlebells over. There's I've forgotten what that's called, but it's where you're on a barbell and you're twisting the bar and it's got a band wrapped around it and it's lifting a weight. So you can do that. Like there's so many different forearm exercises. I would focus on like big strength work, like the hanging from a bar and farmer's carries where you're carrying the weights down by your side. Those would be like your two main focuses. And then outside of that, smaller accessory exercises, you would do all the rest of it. Like I've seen people on Instagram, I don't know if you guys have seen this, where they've got like bags of rice and they're just like sticking their hands in the bags of rice and squeezing the rice to get like crazy forearm gains. So that's another thing that you can do. There's so many. So I would Google it, ChatGPT it, and do the big strength exercises first and supplement some other stuff with some accessory exercises. But definitely follow what the physio says as well. Like the physio would be the best person to guide you. But if, like you said, if they've not helped in the last half a year, it's definitely time to look into doing some strength work. Also look at your shoulder as well. Like doing, I would just do shoulder and forearm exercises, because there is loads of, if you ever have like elbow issues or wrist issues, there is stuff with your shoulder as well. So just make sure that you're doing lots of pulling work. So forearm and shoulder work. All right. Leo said, I'm in the final for the under 10s tomorrow. Good work. Well done. Good luck. As always, like I mentioned a minute ago, if you were there for that, go give your best. Just go try your absolute hardest and act how you want to act on the court. All right. That's very, very important. Philippe said, what should you do if the ball is flying? You might need to be more specific with that question. I'm not entirely sure what that means. My first thing that I thought of is like go and volley or do a swing volley or a dry volley. But feel free to clarify that question and I will answer it for you. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. I'm here to answer any and all questions. You can ask questions about me personally. You can ask tennis questions, anything you want, mentally, tactically, physically, technically. I'll answer absolutely any question that you want. I have a pretty good experience in all of those areas. Got lots of people joining. This is cool. One of the reasons why, William asked, when are you coming back to England? So for those of you who don't know, I am English. William is asking these questions because I used to coach William when he was younger. I am English. I'm from the UK. I'm from West London. I lived there most of my life. I've traveled many, many different parts of the world, lived in Australia for a few years, parts of Europe, a little bit in America when I was younger. And now I'm living out here in Vancouver with my lovely fiance. We're actually getting married in July. William, to answer your question, I'm back in July 11th, I'm getting married. So I think we're flying in on the 6th of July or the 5th of July, something like that. So we'll be back in England for a week and then we'll go in Portugal for our honeymoon, which will be really nice. And then we'll be heading back to Vancouver in Canada after that. We might, when we plan on having kids kind of early next year. So we might actually come to the UK and live in the UK for about 6 months. Hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. William said, Henry and I were talking about you yesterday. How long has it been? How long has it been since I've seen you guys? It's been at least a year and a half or 2 years, I think. When was I? I came and saw you guys. I'm sure I came to see Henry like when I was back a couple of years ago, but I don't think I've seen you, William, in a very long time. I've heard you've grown quite tall, so good work. One of the reasons I'm doing this live today, guys, is because tomorrow the Online Tennis Academy waiting list closes. So if you guys want to get in, I'm essentially like, because you're all here, I'll give you a little bit of an insight. If you were to complete some very, very easy challenges when you join the Online Tennis Academy, you will have a chance to work with me one-on-one for very, very cheap. I'm essentially doing this to try and attract the best possible people that I can. So if any of you want to join, I would highly recommend that you get on the waiting list now. I already have 35 spots filled. So there's 33 spots filled. So there's only 17 spots left, and I've got over 40 people on the waiting list now. So essentially, I have to fill those 17 spots, and I'll be choosing people out of those 40 people on the waiting list. I'm not necessarily going to be picking the first 17 people. It's going to depend on a few things. So if you do want to get on the waiting list, go to my profile now. Just click on the first link that you'll see, and you can watch the video, see what it's about, and then the waiting list is just below that. So feel free to do that if you would like. And even if I message you that you're in, you can always say no after. So, but it's a crazy opportunity. Like, I won't be offering this again. It's going to be very, very cool. So do not miss out. Mir asked another question, adding on my question about the Davis Cup trials. If I get selected, I have about 1 to 2 months. And if I go to Malaysia, how can I prepare myself for that and manage my studies side by side? Yeah, it's really tough, Mir, because keeping up with school and tennis is exceptionally difficult because both of them require so much time, focus, and effort. So my biggest advice for you on this subject is make sure that you plan your week. Get a spreadsheet or just draw a table out on a bit of paper, and it should be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then down at the top and then down the side, like whatever time you wake up to whatever time you go to bed, and plan out every single hour, every single day, to make sure that you are being as efficient as you possibly can be. And because it's very, very hard to juggle both, especially if you've got if you get selected and you're having to travel, and you're obviously going to be having to play a lot of matches if you're playing you're going to have a lot of playing time if you're going for Davis Cup, as well as your training. So yeah, just make sure that you have planned everything out. It's all scheduled in. And then what I do is I plan out my week like I just told you. And then every evening I will plan the next day even more specifically, because things move around, things change. So plan out your week, but then every single evening plan more specifically the day after. That's what I do. And it helps me be exceptionally productive and efficient. All right. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. Rani, you are welcome. Okay, so Philippe, sorry, you said if I hit the ball and I hit it and you hit it out. So honestly, the very simple answer to that question, Philippe, is it depends. But, to answer your question, you just have to make sure that you're spinning the ball a ridiculous amount. It depends on where you are on the court, but if you're behind the baseline, it's a topspin issue. You need to make sure that you are being loose with your wrist, okay? Your wrist is what gets most of the topspin, all right? You never, I'll show you, it's very, you get topspin like this, right? But no one's got their wrist completely still and just doing it with their arm, right? Like that would look weird. You have to use your wrist to get the spin. So make sure that you have a relaxed hand. So relax your hand and use your hand and wrist to get the topspin to make sure the ball is going in. And I would combine that with a little bit of height, right? Like you said, the ball's going out, not in the net, but I always recommend hitting good height over the net and then lots of spin so that the ball goes straight back down. All right, so hopefully that helps. What have we had? We've had a technical question. We've had a mental question. We've had a physical question. Haven't had a tactical question yet. Does anyone have a tactical question that they would like to ask? Or any... Yeah, I agree, Will. I think it was 2023. I definitely won't be able to see you, Will, when I come to London for wedding. There's too many things going on. One thing I am doing, this is cool to tell everyone. I am going Wimbledon this year. So I went Wimbledon so many times when I was younger. But if any of you are going to be at Wimbledon, whatever the Tuesday is before the 11th of July, I think that's the 7th. Whatever that Tuesday is, near the 7th, if any of you are going to be at Wimbledon, message me on Instagram and we will meet up for a quick chat. Because I'm going to be there with all my friends and family. I'm going to hopefully get some good content going as well. So, yes, let me know if anyone's going to be there, all right? But feel free to ask a question about technical, tactical, physical, mental. And I can ask it. I haven't had a tactical question yet. I would say to all of you, something to think about. Have a think about this. What is more important? The tactical decision or the technical execution? The answer to that question is the tactical decision is more important than the technical execution. So the reason for that is because you don't just have one forehand, right? It depends on the tactical situation that you are in, and whatever tactical situation you are in, you will then do whatever forehand you need to do, right? So I'll give you some very clear and simple examples. Imagine you have a ball that lands on the service line and it's high and slow. That technical execution of that forehand is going to look very different if you're on the baseline and the ball is coming at you very quickly at your feet, maybe like after you've served or something. And then that technical execution is going to look very different to if the ball has come out wide and you're in defense, right? So it's very, very important that all of you out there, whenever you are practicing any sort of technique, that it comes with some sort of tactical context. Don't just go out there and be like, this is my forehand, this is my box forehand, or whatever it is, right? There's so many, however many tactical decisions that you can think about, that you can think of on the forehand, that is how many different techniques you have on your forehand. So, and there's loads. So make sure that whenever you define, let's say you have a problem with your forehand, right? Define the tactical situation that you struggle with on your forehand and then work on that. Work on that specifically, okay? Don't just be out there practicing random forehands with no tactical context, because it's pretty, let's say, unproductive, all right? Philippe asking lots of good questions. Can you give me a tip on how to play against hard hitters? This is a tactical question, so good job, Philippe. That means we've had a question on all four, which is good. So how to play against hard hitters. So essentially, what you have to understand about hard hitters is that they are probably going to be making the mistakes. So it's very, very important that you make sure that you are obviously consistent, okay? But the question is, how do you do that? So it depends. Not every scenario is the same. So when you're asking me questions like this, like there is an element of problem solving within it for you. So please just don't take what I say blindly. Make sure that you are actually sort of taking away what I say and you are problem solving within it. All right. But some things I can give you for playing against hard hitters. Move away from the baseline to begin with. All right, because that's going to help give you a little bit more time. Make sure you prepare early and that your take back is smaller, so that you can still maintain good timing when you are playing against them. You want to make sure that you are playing with lots of height and spin. Okay, if you keep the ball low, they are going to like that a lot. All right, but the other part, if you keep the ball low and you give them too much pace, they're going to love that, okay? Because it's easier to hit a ball harder off a ball that already has speed. Creating speed is very, very difficult. So you don't necessarily want to be giving them very slow balls, but at the same time, you need to make sure that what you want to be doing is you want your ball to be high over the net. Not too high, I'm not talking about moon balls, but very good high over the net with lots of spin. So that ball goes up and it hits the ground and it's jumping up at them, okay? And at the same time, you're also not giving them too much speed and the ball is not down at their level. So you want to make sure that you're not giving them too much speed and you're not keeping the ball down at like their waist and shoulder height, because they're going to love that. You want that ball going up, down, and then kicking up at them. So good amount of height, good amount of spin, and a medium amount of speed. Don't start getting into a battle of hitting the ball hard, because like I said, they will enjoy that. You'll be playing into their game. Let's think about this for a second. Most of the time, there are three things that you can do to a ball. You can add speed to it, you can maintain the speed of it, or you can take speed away from it, right? Now, you can't add speed to a ball that's very, very fast, right? And you can't take away speed from a ball that's very, very slow. But most of the time, those are the three things that you can do in tennis. Which one, everyone watching this, out of these three, which one do you think is the easiest? Adding speed, maintaining speed, or taking speed away from a ball? Think about it logically for a second. There is a right answer to this, and I'm going to tell you, and I'll tell you what it is, and I'm going to tell you why. The answer is taking speed away from a ball is a lot easier than anything else. Okay? And the reason for that is, think about it. Whenever everyone watching this has probably played someone who moves very well and pushes the ball back, right? That's because taking speed away from the ball is the easiest thing to do. When you think about the three technical fundamentals, timing, rhythm, and momentum, you don't need any momentum to take speed away from a ball. You don't need good racket rhythm to take speed away from the ball. And like, apart from literally making contact with the ball, you don't need good timing either. You just need to be able to get the ball back in. All right. Hi, Tim. Good to see you here. The reason why I'm saying that is because this links to your question about how to play hard hitters. Taking speed away from the ball is the easiest. Maintaining speed of the ball is the second easiest. I won't go into that because that's quite a long thing to explain. But adding speed to the ball is one of the hardest things to do. It's the hardest out of the three. Okay, having to create your own pace. That's why when anyone plays a player who just pushes the ball and just moves well and gets everything back in, that's why everyone loses to those players, because they miss their way to losing, right? Because you're trying to add speed, and you miss your way to losing, right? And they're just over there taking away speed from the ball, hitting it high, and just making sure they get the ball over and in. So I'm not saying play against hard hitters by pushing. I'm saying that take speed away when you need to, but like make sure that it's high and spinny and everything like I mentioned before. All right. So very good question on how to play against players who are hit hard. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. I take questions on absolutely anything that you can think of, as long as it's tennis related or me related personally. So anything mentally, anything tactically, anything technically, anything physically, I can answer. I have an answer for almost anything that you would want to ask. All right. Tim Wilson sent you a request to be in your live video. Tim, I have never ever done this before. I have never done a live video before. So I actually don't even know what that means. Come watch it and some of your followers will be notified. Interesting. So does that mean you wanna come and talk to me and ask me questions? Let me know what that means. Comment what that means, Tim, and maybe we can do it. We'll see. Any quick tips for a tournament I have later today? I mean, I know nothing about you. like you got to be more specific than that because, that's a tough question. Like, I can give you an overall tip. Like, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you will know that there's 4 things in tennis: mentally, tactically, physically, and technically. We have to prioritize when you're playing a tournament. You have to prioritize. Within those 4 things, there are over 1,000 things that you could be thinking of, right? If not even more. So we have to prioritize. And when you think about what out of those 4, what are the 4 that are going to influence you winning the match the most? Well, we know it's mentally, because it has to be, because how we perform mentally affects the other 3. So that prioritizing how you perform mentally is the most important. Second priority is problem solving the match tactically. You do not want to be thinking about what you're doing technically, all right? Because it gets to the point where you've been playing tennis for such a long time, you know how to play tennis, right? You just need to allow your body to do it, right? So make sure that you are not thinking anything technically, apart from some quick refocuses, maybe like be loose with your hand or more height or more spin, like simple stuff like that. You do not want to be overthinking your technique. And obviously you don't want to be thinking about anything physically with your footwork or your fitness or anything like that. So the top 2 priorities are performing well mentally and problem solving how you win the match tactically. All the top men and women out there are not thinking about how they hit the ball. All right. They might give themselves some quick timing stuff, or, if something's going wrong. But most of the time, like I mentioned, if you were here a little bit earlier, it's tactical first, then technical. You have to have the tactical context to be able to work on the technical execution. So it's always tactically led, mental first, then tactically, and then you can go into the technical and physical stuff after. All right. But good question. Let me know if you have anything more specific than that, and I can answer it. For those of you guys who have only just got here, I'm doing this live today because the Online Tennis Academy, you're welcome. I'm not sure how I say your name, but you're very welcome. Feel free to ask any more questions. The Online Tennis Academy waiting list closes tomorrow. It's a crazy offer. Like, you guys will get to work with me one-on-one for a very, very cheap price. It's the best thing I've offered ever. So I would definitely get on the waiting list. There's not many spots left. So get on it by tomorrow. And yeah, just go on my page. There's a link. It takes 2 seconds to write your name in. All right. Oh, it's John. Is that John? Is that the John I think it is? Jonathan Large. Mate, it's been a while. Goodness me. I hope you're well, mate. I have a few other questions here that I've missed. I'm a 2.5, started playing a year ago and addicted now. I play with a good amount of pace. but I have a harder time with softer, weaker shots. Kelly, you just missed me talking about this. Slow balls, adding speed to slow balls is very, very, very difficult. There's 3 things you can do to a ball most of the time: add speed, maintain the speed, or take away speed. And adding speed to a slow ball is the most difficult out of those 3. Sorry. So, I play with a good amount of pace, but I have a harder time with softer, weaker shots. Yeah. Any tips? Many tips. I would need to see, because it completely depends on you and what's happening. So essentially, I would say to you, so it's good, right? This is a really good question, Kelly. So Kelly has defined the tactical context, most of it, right? Not completely, but you've defined the tactical context by saying, I struggle with slower balls. So that probably means, Kelly, that you're inside the court, right? And it's a slower ball. That probably means it's a little bit higher. So the few things that I would say to you is, the system that I work within technically is based off many things, but one of the systems that I have is the 3 technical fundamentals. So we've got timing, rhythm, and momentum. If you actually go to my YouTube, I did a video on this. It was my first YouTube video ever, and it breaks all of this down. But to put it very simply and quickly, timing is your contact point. Timing is, at what point do you hit the ball? Is it on the rise, the peak, or the drop? Your contact point, so was it too high, low, in front or behind, or near, too far or close? And then are you tactically disguising your shot? But you don't need to worry about that. So timing, I'm answering your question, right? The first thing is timing. So you need to make sure that you are contacting the ball at between waist and shoulder height, preferably above the height of the net and at the top of the bounce. That's the first thing. Okay, so take some notes if you're not already. Contact the ball timing-wise between waist and shoulder height, above the height of the net, so that you can hit it straight. Racket rhythm. The definition of racket rhythm is the change of racket head speed on contact with the ball. That means that you should still be accelerating as you are hitting the ball. Your racket should not have hit its peak speed before you hit the ball. Your racket should hit peak speed just after you hit the ball, so that you are still accelerating as you are contacting the ball. That is very, very important, so that you maintain control and speed on the ball. And then the third technical fundamental is momentum. This is very complicated and very simple, but do not go out there trying to add speed to a ball by just using your arm. You have your entire body, okay? And you need to make sure that you're using your body to accelerate your arm. So, super simple, just make sure that you're starting like this with your shoulders sideways on, and then you do a 180-degree turn all the way around, okay? So that would be my advice technically on how to make sure that you are adding speed to slower balls. The other thing to make sure in terms of ball characteristics, like I mentioned, it's very important that you hit the ball at above the height of the net, because you want to add speed to this ball, correct? You want to hit the ball at a good speed, right? Well, if you contact the ball, say this is the net, and you contact the ball below the height of the net, you are gonna have to hit up. Now, if you hit up and fast, guess where that ball's going? Out. So if you hit the ball below the height of the net, you have to take speed off and add more spin. So that means you need to be hitting the ball above the height of the net. You want to be hitting with a good amount of speed and spin, and make sure that if you're probably inside the baseline at this point, you need to hit the ball low over the net, because if you are near the service line, hitting the ball fast, and you hit with too much height, again, the ball is going out. So you need to hit it at waist, at shoulder height, above the height of the net, hitting low over the net, with a good amount of speed and spin, all right? So I hope that answers your question. There was definitely lots there. Let me keep going down. How do I swing more freely? by Dylan. How do I swing more freely in matches? I get tight often and start pushing. So, Dylan, great question. I would firstly be solving this mentally for you. So it sounds like you get nervous. It's very, very important that you are aware of what you're getting nervous about. So the first thing is addressing your nerves. It's a tough one because you can't really become less nervous. You have to, let's imagine this is your nerves and this is your confidence. You can't reduce how nervous you're feeling. You have to increase how confident you feel so that you feel more confident than you do nervous, right? So you need to work on your confidence, both in yourself and your tennis. So you might have missed what I was saying earlier about that, but essentially, confidence is such a complicated area. It's very big. There's lots that goes on. To summarize it very quickly, the biggest thing that influences your confidence is how you act. So make sure you are acting, who you are is how you act. So if you want to be more confident, go out there and act how you want to act in terms of being calm, being giving your best effort and being resilient, problem solving, being focused, being kind, being honest. All of these things contribute to us being confident. And then that's a mental side of it. From a tactical side of it, whenever you feel nervous, make sure you are doing what you are confident in doing tactically and just do it well. Doesn't matter if they know what's going to happen. Just do what you are confident in doing tactically. All right. And thirdly, make sure that you are getting used to relaxing your hand. Relax the grip of your racket. Practice this in practice first. Relax the grip of your racket. That is going to help you be more resistant to you getting really, really tight. Okay? So if 10 is you're squeezing the racket as tightly as you could, and a 0.5 is you're holding it as loosely as you could, make sure that you are holding the racket as loosely as you can. All right? Fun fact, question for you all. Think about this. If you hit a ball and your racket goes flying out of your hand, why is that? It is not because you're holding the racket too loosely. I encourage all of you to go look at some slow motion forehands from the top guys like Sinner. I saw one the other day. It's a joke how relaxed these guys are. And I mean how loosely they're holding the racket and how much their wrist bends back. Go and look at how much their wrist bends backwards. Their wrist is not going to be bending backwards that much if they were holding it tight. Okay? These guys are a 0.5 out of 10 when it comes to being loose. So, why does your racket fly out of your hand then if you when you hit a ball? It is because you do not hit the middle. As soon as you hit the outside of the racket and you're holding it loose, the racket twists, and then the leverage of it hitting the racket and twisting is what makes it pop out your hand like that. All right? So make sure that whenever you are holding the racket looser, that you are also focusing on hitting the ball in the middle. Tim asked, how much for online coaching? Well, one of the reasons I'm doing this is for the online academy. For the first 50 people, I am charging $19 $19 per month. Now, a little bit of an insight for you guys. For that amount, if you complete a few challenges when you join, you will get a 1-hour session with me every single month. So not only are you going to get everything in the online academy that you can go look at the video in the link in my profile, but you will get a 1-hour session with me a month, and you will get unlimited messaging with me, as well as so many other things. So it is the craziest offer I've ever done. You literally get to work with, I'm doing a cool referral bonus as well. So you can actually get to the point where you're working with me and you're not paying anything. So yeah, it's a really big opportunity for you guys. I would highly suggest getting on the waiting list. Philippe, who is your favorite player from Sweden? Man, I don't know the answer to that question. My all-time favorite tennis player is my childhood favorite tennis player was Juan Martín del Potro, the Argentinian. He beat Federer. Oh, what year was it in the US Open? Was it 2010? Where am I now? I'm old. 16. Yeah, I think it was 2010, or it was close to that. If anyone knows the answer to that, please put it in the chat, because I can't remember. I think it was 2010, but yeah, he beat Federer. I remember staying up till the early hours of the morning to watch that match. Yeah, he's my favorite tennis player. My current favorite tennis player, and has been for many, many years now since Del Potro retired, is Felix Auger-Aliassime. He is he's doing very well now, but he went through a bit of a bad patch, obviously for a year or two. Not a bad patch. The guy's still top 200, but he's now top 5. Like, he's doing unbelievably well. So he's my current favorite, and yeah, I stuck by him through his difficult times, or more difficult times outside of the top 20. So yeah, he's my current favorite. Jonathan, message me because I have an interesting proposal for you. So if you're still watching, please message me. Let me look. Any more questions? Let me have a look at some more questions. Any more questions? Philippe, knee injuries are tough, mate. I currently have a knee injury. Knee injuries are very complicated, mate. I would go see a physio. Get them to help you. Start with isometrics. ISOMETRIC. Isometrics. Start with some isometric work, and go from there. All right. I am only going to take a couple more questions. Tim asked a question. Where is it? Last question from Tim. Which gives more power? Little backswing or big, or a lot of backswing? Backswing is only one small thing that contributes to adding speed to a ball. The biggest thing that contributes to adding speed to a ball is using your body. So making sure that you are turning like this, obviously, to prepare to hit the ball, but then turning a lot after, doing a full 180-degree turn, doing that full turn, and then working on doing it quickly. That is the thing that contributes the most to adding speed to the ball, all right? So combining that with some racket rhythm, that would be my biggest bit of advice. If you start trying to turn your body too much too quickly, you'll start blasting the ball and you'll start missing a lot. So just make sure that you are doing it with good racket rhythm, okay? And if you want to know what timing, racket rhythm, or momentum is, go look at my YouTube. It's the first video that I ever did. All right, just tennis coach.